Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live episode of Messi and Co. I'm Ashley here, as always, with my incredible co-host Gian. Uh, wait, do you hear backfeed?
A little bit, a little
Okay,
bit.
give me 1 second. You introduce.
I introduced you. Well, you did the introduction, so um, welcome everybody to a new episode of Inter Miami podcast with the Messi and Co show here at Five Reasons Sports. How you guys doing today? Hopefully, you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday evening wherever you are. It's evening here in Miami. For us, what is it? It's about 5:51 p.m. Eastern
Yeah.
Standard Time. I know a few of you guys are from different places around the world, so I don't know if it's morning for you. Oh, that'd be crazy if it was morning. Maybe you're in Australia or something. But yeah, no, it's a good Tuesday, and we've got an Inter Miami game coming up tomorrow, so that's exciting. And we had a few Inter Miami games over the last week or so for this Leagues Cup tournament. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about that. Talk about what's going on with Messi and his availability. Talk about our chances at continuing in this Leagues Cup. And a few other things. But first and foremost, Ash, how you doing? How you feeling? How's everything going?
Yeah, well, thank you for doing that. By the way, I had to just turn off the other feed that I had. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's another week. Happy to be here. Obviously, there's been a lot going on. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk some Inter Miami, but I'm good. I have been working all day long, and I have been taking a look at this Inter Miami stuff that's been going on. Just a whole lot going on with availability, players
Yeah.
coming back, and again, we've got a huge game tomorrow, so just kind of doing a little bit of research that on that ahead of today's podcast. But no, I'm doing great. It's nice and sunshine out there. It's the rainy season here in Miami, so
Mm.
I'm actually happy that it didn't rain today. I've been able to do some stuff outside of the house, so it's been good. Over the last couple of days, it's weird. I don't know if this has happened to you. I'm sure you have, being in Miami so many years, but it's like it'll be sunshine, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna head out and do something, and it's like this storm comes out of nowhere, like absolutely nowhere, and then and
Summer
then I'm like,
Miami.
okay, I guess I won't. I sit back down, and then all of a sudden it's like sunshine again within like 15 minutes. So, but no,
No,
everything is good. Everything's good.
yeah, agreed. All right. Well, before we get into the episode and talking about Inter Miami, of course, we want to start by giving our condolences to Lionel Messi on the passing of his father, Jorge Messi, this past week. 68 years old. We had heard, that he had been ill a little bit prior. There was talk of that, and he passed away. And so, obviously, we're a podcast about soccer, about Inter Miami, about Messi, but first and foremost, we're people. And so, we want to offer our condolences and apologies, because losing a family member, losing a father, obviously incredibly difficult. And knowing that he's been a little ill, and Messi's probably had been dealing with that, uh, internally, it's never easy. And so I think we just wanted to take a second and offer thoughts and prayers and well wishes. And whenever he returns, obviously we'll welcome with open arms, but understanding that, family first.
Yeah, it's always tough losing a loved one, especially a parent. So it's especially tough for him, obviously, and it's crazy to think about these things like after the fact, and looking back at him in the World Cup and realizing that he was going through a lot during those
Yeah.
games with Argentina, having scored that first goal against Algeria, and him crying. Like you look back at these moments and you realize like he was actually going through a lot, and I think it's really tough. Like when you're playing any type of sport, for you to be like in the game, it's tough when there's distractions, especially when your mind is on something else. And for him to still have been in the World Cup, I think, playing at such an elite level, 8 goals, arguably the best player in the tournament, to do that with so much stuff going on in the background with his father, and the illness his father was going through at that time, I think just speaks volume to his love and passion for the game. And I think also him thinking, that's probably what his dad would have wanted, right? Is him to go out there and do what he loves the most. And we know that Messi Messi feels, I think, at home and feels best when he's on the pitch. That's where he
Yeah.
feels the comfortable. You sometimes see him on camera and out and about, and he doesn't look sometimes that comfortable, right? He looks out of place sometimes, but on the field, it's like home for him. So it was probably therapy too. I would assume, like playing in that World Cup while his father was doing that. But unfortunately, he passed away, and it's sad for him. He's flown back to Argentina. He's been there a couple of days now, and he went to his father's funeral. And the last thing that we heard from Inter Miami was that he was granted I guess like an indefinite leave of absence. We'll have to see how long that takes, but there's
Yeah.
already reports out of Argentina that he's on a plane back either today or tomorrow. So we'll talk. When we talk about the upcoming Leagues Cup game, we'll talk a little bit more about his availability. But he's
Yeah.
definitely through a lot over the last couple of months, and it's tough for anybody to go through that, and definitely we feel for him, right? And
100%.
a lot of support from his teammates. Like the coach was talking about it at the press conference today, talking about how everybody's been, how everybody feels hurt for what he's
Yeah.
going through. Their captain, and giving all their support. So I'm sure that he's feeling the love from a lot of people here in Miami and around the world.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I think there have been some, conflicting reports about if he's going to stay there indefinitely, or he's coming back today, tomorrow. I think also people process grief differently. Sometimes they're like, I want to jump right back into something so that I don't feel it as much, or it's what he wanted. Obviously, his father was a longtime agent and, was there for all of his big soccer and football moments in his career. And so, we'll have to see what decisions he decides, what path he goes on over these next few days, weeks, whatever the case may be. But first and foremost, we wish him the best. We wish his family the best. Never easy to lose a loved one. To your point, it's crazy what he had went through and the level he had been playing at the World Cup and even recently for Inter Miami. It just shows you just never know what people are going through, right? And we want him to do whatever he can to mourn properly, to be with his loved ones, and to continue on with his family. So we'll again, obviously we want him back when he's ready. No one doesn't want Messi to play, but family first, and so we'll see how that unfolds. But we did want to take a minute, of course, to pay our respects. And so before we and now as we move on to talking about Inter Miami, the Leagues Cup and what's to come, we wanted to have a moment for him. So again, okay, moving on. Wishing the best and sending our thoughts and prayers and love. Okay, so now we can getting into Leagues Cup, because obviously on outside of just the fact that Messi left when his father passed away and went to go be with his family, it meant he wasn't playing. And so Inter Miami in their second Leagues Cup match fall to Monterrey in what was a close, tight match. Inter Miami, a team that had a laundry list of players unavailable, obviously now starting with Messi, but then we know we didn't have Suarez. We didn't have Silvetti. We have so many injuries. We don't have Allende, who's been out for the season. We don't have Berterame. So it was a team that really the only player that we had, that had offensive, really strong ability, and not even an offensive player, is Rodrigo de Paul. And he obviously is feeling, the loss for Messi. He's one of Messi's closest friends, Argentine teammate. But he scores for Inter Miami, gets the goal against Monterrey. Inter Miami lead, and to celebrate and to honor his friend, he was wearing a Messi shirt under his jersey. He takes off his jersey and has the Messi shirt, and obviously paying respects for his dear friend and teammate. And so before we get into even that, obviously the game ends up falling for Inter Miami, and Monterrey gets to win, puts us in a difficult position, finishing off the Leagues Cup. Rodrigo de Paul was a great goal and a great way to honor your friend.
Yeah, I mean, look, you have multiple people holding it down as best as they can while Messi's gone, and obviously De Paul being one of them, his best friend, being able to show that jersey underneath, I think was really cool. It was a really a nice token of respect to Messi and to the Messi family for what they've gone through, and it was an incredible goal from outside of the box. Loved it. That's something that we've seen De Paul bring starting last season to start shooting from outside the box, and he scored quite a few of those already. I think maybe a handful of them, four
Yeah.
or five of those goals, and I think it just adds another dimension to this Inter Miami team that sometimes tries to do everything like Barca used to do back in the days, where they try to basically walk inside the goal with the ball, and you need guys like De Paul that's going to be able to add another dynamic to the attack and be able to shoot from outside. I think Casemiro is going to bring the same thing once he starts, getting more
Yeah.
shots on goal from outside. But yeah, I mean, look, the, for Inter Miami to face this Monterrey team without Messi was difficult enough, and they faced the Monterrey team that is now fifth currently in the Liga MX standings. They're a team that has a payroll of almost $30 million in comparison to Inter Miami. Like, this was a tough matchup with or without Messi, and
Yeah.
without Messi even harder. Um, and I mean, there's not just Messi. Like, look at the attack. If we go to the lineup for this game, they had Pinter and Delanoy up front
Yeah.
as their attackers. And for a team that hasn't been known for maybe being the best at defense, but always being able to outscore their opponent, they rely heavily on that attack. And they're a team that was not only missing Messi, they're missing Suarez, they're missing Berterame, they're missing ¿cómo se llama?
Allende, Silvetti.
Silvetti, Allende. They're missing their entire attack. So this
Yeah.
game from the start was going to be a difficult uphill battle. The fact that they were able to get on the board first, I thought was a surprise for me. Winning 1-0, I thought that was really,
Yeah.
that was a great way to start this off with that the Paul shot at minute 32. But then unfortunately, Monterrey comes back, ties at 1-1, and then they almost ended with the tie, which would have been an excellent, excellent, excellent result for this team down so many important figures. And then unfortunately, Rossi scores for Monterrey in minute 90, and
Yeah.
that just sealed the deal at that point. A heartbreak because this is not an easy tournament to win, especially
Yeah.
given the fact that out of 18 MLS teams, only 4 are going to go ahead and pass. So you basically, in order to pass, you need to win every game. You need to win every game and win every game decisively, because there are going to be multiple teams that win, all 3 games, and it's going to come down to goal difference at this point. So, sad. I'm not to say I'm surprised that they lost. I'm actually surprised that they were able to keep it so close and almost come out with the tie. But it's just unfortunate that they were just down too many important figures, especially Messi, in this game.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously going into the tournament, we knew there wouldn't be Suarez, and so we knew it was going to be difficult, but still had hopes because we have such a strong team. But obviously, with what's happened, with an unexpected loss and no Messi, obviously it hasn't exactly turned out the way we planned. It would be very difficult for Inter Miami to advance at this point. I mean, it's possible. It requires a few teams to lose, and obviously for Inter Miami to win and win by a large margin tomorrow. But for all intents and purposes, we're probably going to say Inter Miami will be out of the Leagues Cup after this week. We'll be back into focusing in MLS, and as Ash says, this year can be salvaged with the team playing smooth, fluid, intelligent football, the playoffs, and the younger players to further develop. Well, for sure, the younger players have further developed. We've seen a lot of instances already this season where you have young players come in and make a big splash, whether it's Pinter, whether it's Caicedo. We've seen great performances from young players, and that's strong from the Inter Miami Academy is obviously really great to see. And yeah, we still have the MLS playoffs trying to get, back-to-back champions, as well as potentially supporter shield. So, there's still things to play for. I think in retrospect, obviously there are just things that are out of your control. as a fan, as a team, as a player, and you're trying to get as many net positives as you can. And so there will still be a game tomorrow. Hopefully Inter Miami can beat Leon, and then still have the honor of what they've been able to produce, and then move on to what's next.
Yeah, you're gonna need multiple teams to lose out tomorrow. You have Austin, Charlotte, Chicago, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Dallas, all with 2 wins, all with 6 points. You got LAFC with 5 points, and you're talking about a really high goal difference for some of these teams. Austin with a 5-goal difference, Charlotte with 5, Chicago, Cincinnati with 4, and then Columbus and Dallas with 3. Meanwhile, Inter Miami sits in 11th place right now with just 3 points and a goal difference of 1 right now. So you're going to need multiple things to fall your way for Inter Miami to pass. Not only fall your way in the sense of having some of these teams lose, but they're going to have to lose by a lot of goals too to bring down that goal difference. So, you know what? I mean, numbers wise, mathematically, they're not out of it yet. But you're definitely going to need a lot of luck to not only for Inter Miami to win and win. So you need Inter Miami to win and win by a lot, and then you need about 5-6 teams to lose and hopefully lose by a lot. But look, I mean, for me, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about and it'll fall into what Ash Preedom was talking about if this year can be salvaged. Look, I've seen a lot of discourse about whether this tournament has been a failure for Inter Miami. And a lot of discourse as to, it's not a failure. How can you call it a failure if they're missing Messi, if they're missing different players? And then the other side, the other token of that argument saying, well, it is a failure because they promised us that we were going to win everything. And I think that as in everything in life, you need to have a balanced frame of thought and be open-minded, right? Yeah. And I'll share mine, and then if you want, you can share yours, Ash. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. Look, this team from the very start of Messi's career with Inter Miami was built to win, not just an MLS Cup, but to win a Champions Cup, to win a Leagues Cup, if we were to go into Libertadores, to be able to compete in Libertadores. I'm not going to say win. Libertadores is a whole different animal, but to compete highly in Libertadores. But the team was sold as a team that was going to win multiple championships and compete in every single tournament that they are in and try to win it, right? And I think that means winning a Champions Cup, winning a Leagues Cup. The Leagues Cup we've already gotten. The Champions Cup has been elusive. We've won the MLS Cup. We won the Supporter Shield. But I think that if you go into a Leagues Cup with a team that has De Paul, that has Casemiro, that has an all-star in Yannick Bright, that has a Telasco Segovia that starts for the Venezuelan national team, that's an incredible player. I don't know if I mentioned Yannick Bright, maybe I did, but it's an all-star. The team was built to win Leagues Cup. They were built to win Leagues Cup. And I think that if you do not win Leagues Cup, I think that the players and the ownership are going to see that as a failure. I think most fans will see that as a failure as well, right? If you have a team that was built specifically for these moments, they're not a regular season team. They're built to win championships. But at the same side, I think that we all have to have that open mind to be able to, once the tournament is over, go back, and if you didn't win it, understand why did we fail. And I don't think every failure is the same. I don't think if you go to let's say a Conca Champions fully healthy and you lose out, yes, it's a failure, but is it the same type of failure as going into this Leagues Cup down multiple, players, and there's different circumstances around that? Is that the same type of failure? And to me, it's not. I don't think it's the same type of failure, but I think that we need to agree it is a failure. So you need to look back and analyze, why did we come up short in this Leagues Cup? And I'm talking ahead of time just because I think that I mean, realistically, I don't think we're going to make it. But why did Inter Miami fail? And it is a failure. But why did they? They failed because of the fact that they're a team built specifically to attack. That their strong suit is not defense. They're trying to get better now with Casemiro in there. But if you don't have Messi, it's bad luck, and it's a really sad circumstance. His father passes away. You have Berterame a week and a half ago, whatever it is, that gets a concussion,
Yeah.
or seemed like a concussion, messes up his shoulder, whatever. Silvetti dislocated shoulder. Suarez can't play 6 games because he spat on somebody.
Yeah.
Allende, your leading attacker in the MLS playoffs last season, is out basically for the season. Like, those are some, you can be built as good as you can be built,
Extenuating circumstances. Yeah.
and those are like insurmountable
Yeah.
circumstances. Like, this is what can you? I mean, you talk about you need luck in football. Like, even the best teams need luck. Like, this is the opposite of luck. Like, this is just
Yeah.
awful. So I think you can say both things. They're not mutually exclusive. I think that you can say Inter Miami has failed. It looks like it's going to fail in this Leagues Cup, but you can also understand why, and you can
Yeah.
maybe your criticism can be it should still be harsh, but I think a bit less harsh, understanding that there's just some things that's just out of your hands. And I mean, it's really out of their hands. So, look, the players expected to win. They said it in Hoyos expected to win regardless of having Messi or not. Said it in the press conference today. I just wanted to read it really quickly. His one-liner quote. I got it in our message today that we get as media. Where is this thing? He said, this club has to always compete and approach every match the same way, looking to win. So for those of you that say, this isn't a failure, they weren't expected to win because they're missing people, nobody believes that. There may be some of the fans that think that, but the team doesn't act that way, ownership doesn't act that way, and the players sure damn don't walk into a game saying, oh, it's okay if we lose because Messi's not here. So again, just that's how I feel. I feel that it's both things. It's a failure because they're expecting to win every tournament, but we need to understand why they failed.
Yeah, agree. I mean, I think, if you said at the beginning of the season, they are in Leagues Cup and they don't have in their second group match, they don't have Suarez, Allende, Bertarame, or Messi or Silvetti. None of those players are available. It'd be like, okay, then maybe not. Like, I mean, these are really extenuating circumstances. And obviously as fans, we want Inter Miami to win, and I would hope and think that we can get out of the group stage. But I just named 5 of 11, offensive starters and the greatest player to ever play in the history of the sport unavailable. One of the greatest strikers of all time, who's in the last 25 years unavailable. That one we knew about in advance, but like you said, our top goal scorer and playoff goal scorer last year that helped win us a championship, not available. Our $15 million striker that we brought in from Liga MX, not available. It's definitely like it tips the scales, like I think when we talk about like the Champions Cup earlier this season, the exit, that felt more inexcusable, knowing we had the tools and the resources to not lose in that fashion. This one I'm gonna give Inter Miami, and I'm gonna give the team a little bit of slack. I think this is circumstances that is unfathomable, right? Like, it's that's 5 of your best attackers. That's really hard
Would
to
you
do.
still characterize it as a failure though? Because I do, and I understand that. Like, there's two sides.
Yeah.
One side is saying it's a failure, the other is saying not because of the circumstances. I think it's both. I think it's a failure because they're expected to win every
Yeah.
tournament based on what we've been promised by ownership, based on the team they've built. But again, understanding that, I mean, exactly what we just talked about now. So to me, it's still a failure, but I understand why. Would you
Yeah.
say it's a failure?
So I'm going to actually say, I'm going to be nice to them. And I'm going to say it's not a failure. I think
Okay.
that Messi makes all the difference. I think if we would have seen them in this situation and Messi played, it would have been a failure 100%. But there's just, and also it's not that he was not that available because he had an injury, right? Like, his father passed away. I think that affects your teammates. It affects everything. And it's really, really, really hard circumstances. You could say in hindsight, like, upset at Suarez because even now at the way he's playing this season, why would he do something like that last season that would put him in jeopardy? I mean, the truth is that not only this, but he can't play in 3 matches next season too if he's still playing with Inter Miami because he has a 6-game ban. So and then it begs the question, which I think this is a really valid question. Only a couple of chances left to qualify for Champions Cup next year. So yeah, it seems inexcusable and a failure in if you're looking at just like paper in black and white. But when you have these circumstances and those 5 players unavailable, my thinking is, don't count this as a loss. Failure is a strong word. Count it as a loss. Understand you wish and could have done better, and then move on because there are still really important things to play for as this season winds down. And, one thing that we absolutely cannot have that's 100% unacceptable is not being in the Champions Cup next season. That is something that we must do. And there now we have 2 opportunities that we didn't get in order to advance. One would be winning the Champions Cup. The other would have been winning Leagues Cup. And now both we know are out. Inter Miami failed to do it, but I wouldn't say that they're a failure because this was just, I think, how could you ever think something like this would have ever occurred? And there's a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas in life and in teams. There's questions you can ask of coaching, of availability, of all those things. But when your talisman, captain, greatest player of all time, the day before or the day of the match, right? Like his father passes away. Sometimes you just have to put your hands up and be like, okay, we go to the next one.
Yeah, I mean, to what Mike is saying, like they had a chance to win this, or at least tie it and get the point, and that's why I see it as a failure. I mean, they're all professionals.
No,
They still had all stars on that. I mean, incredible players on that team. You had 2 kids playing up front that barely get any playing time. So that's when I go back and I say, yeah, I understand that there's circumstances, and that's why that helps me understand why it could have possibly led to the failure, but I still think it's
so
it's a
maybe you
failure
understand it, but it's still a failure.
Yeah, exactly. It's a failure to me, but I understand in part what could have led to that failure, as opposed to I just can't see a team like Inter Miami that is an international team that's going and doing going to do, what do you call them, tours in Central America, in South America, going to Asia, going to Europe, doing all these things. They've got world renowned players. They've got a new stadium. They've got ownership that's saying we're going to win multiple things. I don't see how you go into a tournament, lose it, not even make it out of the first, the group stage, and then say that's not a failure. I can't comprehend not thinking that's a failure. Now, I can do both sides of the coin and say it was a failure. I can understand maybe what led to the failure, but at the end of the day, I think they have enough. Now, if you make, I think they had enough to make it out of the group stage at least. That's why to me it's even more of a failure. Now, you talk about you get to the semifinal and you get to the final and you don't have your 5 best attackers. You don't have Messi. You don't have Suarez. You don't have Berterame. You don't have Silvetti. Damn, then I can be like, okay, how the hell were you expecting Inter Miami to make it out of, win the final or win the semifinal without these guys? That's a lot tougher. But to not make it out of the group stage, look, you've got teams in Austin, Charlotte, Chicago, Cincinnati, Columbus, Dallas, LAFC, Salt Lake, Nashville, Portland, all ahead of Inter Miami. Do you think Inter Miami from the midfield back is better than most of these teams? I would say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I again, the players that are on that pitch from the midfield back minus our 2 attack. And I mean, Pinter's not a scrub either. I mean, he's young, he's still getting the experience, but we've seen that he can play. We know he can play. I just don't see how Inter Miami in 11th place is not better than at least half of these teams that are ahead of them. So to me, and if you look at it from that point of view, it's a failure. Like Austin, Charlotte, Chicago, Cincinnati, Columbus, Dallas, LAFC, Salt Lake, Nashville, Portland, all ahead of Inter Miami, and Inter Miami still has a better team than some of those teams. So, I mean, you there's not many. they have to go to Champions Cup. That would be the biggest failure if they don't go to
Yeah.
Champions Cup, right? So I mean, after this tournament, all eyes are on the Supporters Shield and the MLS Cup. I wanted to touch on something actually really quick that
Yeah.
somebody said here, because I didn't mention it had, what I was going to say had something to do with it. Um, let's see who it was. They were talking about there's something about being a the season being a what's it called, failure, right? I
Yeah.
think the season is, if you can win Supporter Shield and you can win Champions Cup, it's not a failed season, right? I mean, you anytime you win the MLS Cup, I don't know if I said Champions Cup, I meant MLS Cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if you win MLS Cup, I don't think that's a failed season. But what I will say is this: look, the Messi era, no matter what happens from now moving forward, is a success from every aspect,
Of course.
from
Yeah.
from a sporting aspect, from a commercial aspect, from a branding aspect. It's a success. This team could place last in every single thing for the next 2 years till Messi leaves. They can place last in Champions Cup. They can place last in Leagues Cup. They can place last in an MLS Cup. They can win nothing the next 2 years. And this entire Messi
Era.
experiment
Yeah.
era is a success already. The fact that we won a
Yeah.
Leagues Cup, a Champions Cup, a Supporters Shield is a success in and of its own. But I don't want that to blind some fans and say it's okay that we don't win anything else moving on just because of that, right?
Yeah.
Because I've also seen some of that discourse, and when people are saying, "Hey, we're failing so far in 2026. We didn't win the Champions Cup. It looks like we're out of Leagues Cup." But hey, don't worry, we already won this. I agree in the sense that, like, yes, it's that this whole era is a success, but we can't just stop there. There are other things
Yeah.
that we need to win. This team is meant to continue winning every single season, winning multiple trophies, and I think that expectation, the players have it, the coach has it, ownership has it, and us as fans should also share in that expectation.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a really good point. I look, if you say to me, what about, the rest of the season? Yeah, one part of me, I always said, Leagues Cup, understand, like, these are circumstances no one could expect, but I don't expect for the rest of the season that Inter Miami don't win either the Supporters Shield or the MLS Cup for sure. I expect to win it. I expect to win one, if not both of those. And I think we will see that as time goes on. To your point, yes, the Messi era it's such a success, and we're so lucky to have him and to still have him. I mean, obviously now we'll see how things adapt or change moving forward after this. But in the last 3 years, correct, we've won of the major trophies: MLS Cup, Supporters Shield, Leagues Cup. No doubt, like, and made it to US Open Cup final. Like, the team has been successful on and off the field. But I expect, especially with all the players we've acquired over time, including the likes of Bertarame, Rodrigo de Paul, Casemiro now, I still expect there to be, no complacency as we go and finish off the season, going for the best you can have.
Yeah, and look, what kind of manager does the team need next season to optimize the performance
Don't
and
forget,
talent of
Mascherano
this
was the coach
roster?
as the season started.
Yeah, no, it's a total change of what we had with Mascherano. I think we're doing a lot better after Mascherano left mutually. And look, what type of manager do we need? I think right now we're okay with Hoyos. I think he's completely changed this team, and he may not be the perfect coach, but I've always been of the mindset that you don't change a coach just for the sake of change, just for the sake of a name. I think that if he's doing a good job so far, which he seems to be, then you just roll with him, unless you find someone with hierarchy.
Pep Guardiola, right? Yeah.
I don't even, a coach of that caliber, like a Pep Guardiola. If that miracle happens, or a Xavi type of miracle happens, then 100% you bring them in. But I don't think that you just say, hey, let's just find somebody just because, right? Just because we don't want Hoyos, because Hoyos is an interim coach, or because Hoyos hasn't coached in how many years,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So right now, Hoyos, props to him. He's done a good job. He may be, a little, what would be the word? Like what's that word? Like he's interesting. Let's use that word. He's
Okay.
interesting. There's another word I was trying to think of, but he's an interesting character, right?
Yeah.
But outside of that, I think that the players have really gelled well with him, and I think that he's found a really good a really good way for this team to play, and the attack. They're always the protagonists. They don't sit back. The defense has always been an issue, and it seems like no matter what manager we have, the defense is an issue. But that's because this team has decided to invest in the midfield moving forward, and until that
Yeah.
changes, you're talking about obviously Messi, Berterame, Suarez, Silvetti, and then we know what midfield we have. I think that leaves a little bit of a less of an investment. And at the end of the day, think about it. It's we may get scored on and you may get frustrated, but at the end of the day, you sure as hell have a lot of fun with the goals we're scoring, right? So like if you were going to invest one or the other more heavily, I would rather it be an attacking, it'd be an investment in the attack and have an attacking team that's scoring multiple goals every game. So
Agreed. I
yeah,
mean, look,
I'm fine.
looking at this now, we're like, oh, we didn't have enough attackers with how this tournament has gone. Yeah, I mean, I think we'll have to see with Oils. I think also how the season ends, depending on, like we said, whether it's Supporter Shield or MLS Cup, what that journey looks like will dictate, I think, what we see with coaching. But overall, there is a lot of season left. It's been a lot of ups and downs, and there's still two big trophies to play for, and of course the most important, which is MLS Cup. And we'll see how things shake up. I do want to, though, quickly before we wrap up, I do want to talk a little bit about tomorrow's match, because obviously we said it would be very, very difficult for Inter Miami to advance, but they still have their third match. Also, I think that Leagues Cup's going to have to drastically change their scoring and planning of next season to see the teams that advance, because in this stage now you're getting so many teams who are entering this third match either out of it or guaranteed, and you don't really see probably the level you wanted and expect, and while there's room to improve on that. But tomorrow against León, it's still a competitive match, and there's still things you don't know what's going to happen. So overall, do you expect to see a strong Inter Miami team, or do you think it's going to be a team that's playing a lot of, I mean, we're already playing a lot of subs, obviously, based on the things we said, but really, literally, not DePaul, not Casemiro, etc. What do you think that's going to look like tomorrow?
I mean, look, just looking at training earlier today and what came out, Berterame was out there. So there's a chance that Berterame might start. That would help tremendously up front, obviously. Probably be him and Pinter up front, I would assume. Yeah. Messi, I think, is we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, talking about how there are conflicting reports out of Argentina that Messi's on a flight back today or on a flight back tomorrow. Then we had Inter Miami say that he was out indefinitely, that obviously because of him grieving his father's passing. So I honestly don't think Messi's playing tomorrow, honestly, because of what he's gone through, and also from just a physical standpoint, he didn't train, and he's just going to come off of a flight today or tomorrow and just get right into a game. I just don't think it would be prudent for him or for us in the long run, right? There's still a lot left of this season. So with no Messi, there's a possibility that Berterame comes out. I think this team comes out strong. I mean, they only lost 2-1 against Monterrey with Pinter and the other young kid up front. I think that if Berterame is able to play, and he teams up with Pinter, we basically have the exact same team that we had against Monterrey, and I really see a possibility to win. I don't see why not. I think León. I think León right now is currently 14th in Liga MX. They have lost 2 of their first 3 games. I mean, they're not in the best condition. They have won their games in Leagues Cup, though. So they've done pretty good in Leagues Cup. If I'm looking at this right, I was actually trying to figure out. Oh, they beat Orlando City 2-1. They beat Nashville 1-0. Mm-hmm. I think they're a very beatable team. I'm really not overly concerned as long as Inter Miami plays like they played against Monterrey. With I think that it was just they're just gonna have to step it up a little bit, and if Berterame plays, they'll be good. So, but again, just talking about Leagues Cup as a whole, does that if we win 1-0 or 2-0 or 2-1, does that mean we qualify? No, still a big chance, even though that we win, that we're still going to be out. What you need tomorrow, aside from multiple teams losing who are ahead of you in the standings, is an Inter Miami game that they just go all out. They're going to have to sacrifice maybe and maybe give up counterattacks and leave spaces in behind them, but they got to go all out and try to win this game by 3 or 4 goals. Honestly, like they're going to have to go out there and win a 4-1, a 3-0. That's the type of game you need from Inter Miami. If you get a 2-1 or a 1-0, it's basically over at that point. So you're going to need a really, really pressing, high attacking Inter Miami team. And yeah, it's doable. I think it's doable, but that hopefully we see that.
Yeah, agreed. I think so too. And I think also for overall morale, like you want to see the team play well, win, and, be able to execute on a high level across the team.
Look,
And so
I'll give
we'll
you this
see.
tidbit. I'll give you this tidbit.
Yeah.
Since Hoyos started coaching, Inter Miami is yet to lose back is yet to lose a competitive back-to-back game. So like in competition, they're yet to lose back-to-back games since he started. So hopefully that means that we do win tomorrow, and I'm pretty confident that we will. I just hope it's by a large margin. It really has to be.
It would be something crazy if after everything, Inter Miami win like 4-0 or 3-0, something like that, and then other results fall their way and they somehow get that 4th spot. I mean, very, very unlikely, but you never know. And then imagine what that would do for the energy and the vibes and seeing. So we'll have to
Another
see.
thing with this León team, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Ash.
No,
Another
no,
thing
go
with
ahead.
this León team, because it's just going to give you some of these little tidbits are going to give you things to look at during this game. And one of these things is that León, they call them Las Panzas. That's their nickname. They have a 100% record so far this season in Liga MX when they what's it called, when they have the first goal. So if they score first, they have a 100% record so far this season in Liga MX. They haven't lost the game. So fingers crossed that we score first tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there's a little, I mean, records are meant to be broken and all, but if you're into that those stats and that data, you're going to want Inter Miami to make sure that they get on the board first and hold that lead.
All right, well, I'm putting in my prediction right now. We'll see. I'm saying Inter Miami win 4-0 and magically qualify and get out of the group stage and rally.
Chicago, Cincinnati to lose, basically. Yeah, you need those 4 to lose. So it's like playing the lottery, basically. I mean, there's going to be a lot of game watching tomorrow, so it's not just Inter Miami. You got to be looking at other results throughout. But hey, look, if we win tomorrow and we make it into the next round, I mean, we got to throw like a celebration pot, like for real, like that'd be
eating
insane.
Our Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Yeah,
and the lottery here in the US, the Powerball is almost at $1 billion. So if we win tomorrow, I will purchase a Powerball ticket. I don't even play the lottery, but with that type of luck tomorrow, I mean, I feel like I can be rich. So
I will too.
I'll buy a lottery ticket.
Yeah, I will too. I mean, we'll wait and see. Obviously, it'll be we'll have to see things. It's tough, but you never know. That's the beauty of sports, is you never know what's going to happen. So we'll wait and see, and hopefully, as we'll see whether it's tomorrow or for the game on Nashville, slowly getting players back, and we'll see. We have a lot to play for, and the season is far from over. So we just will keep moving on. But yeah, okay. So to summarize it, I think again we want to just really quickly give our thoughts and prayers and condolences to Messi and his family for the passing of his father, Jorge. Difficult for anyone. We wish them all, the the love and support to make it back, and Inter Miami and everyone supporting him and his family. So wanted to make sure we said that, and we'll see what these next few days, games, everything turns out to be. There's still a lot of beautiful things in the team and beautiful players and lots to play for. So yeah, it's bittersweet, right? But we'll just have to see what happens next.
Yeah, a lot of beautiful things, like you said. So yeah, no, vamos Inter Miami. Hope they win tomorrow. Hope they win big. Hope some of these teams lose ahead of us, and then we can make it. And yeah, I think there's still a long season ahead of us, but we're focused on Leagues Cup now, and the game is tomorrow. Hopefully, it works out for us. Shield and
Agreed.
Cup. Yep. Shield and Cup. That's what we're looking forward to if this miracle doesn't work out for us tomorrow.
Yeah. And so we'll wait and see. But thank you, everyone, as always, for tuning in, for watching, for participating. Means a lot to us. And we love to keep doing this. Make sure you are following us on X and on YouTube, Messi and Co. 5 Reasons Football, so that you see all the latest news about the team, about our content we make, about what the next game, and we'll be there every step of the way. We'll be back next week as always. And yeah, so thank you. So thank you everyone for watching this episode of Messi and Co. I'm Ashley. That is Gian, and we will see you next time.
See you guys.